Hey there, virtual learners. It's Mrs. Fontana. I bet you're thinking I'm going to take you to space, but unfortunately, not today. Not that kind of space. I wish I could bring you to space because that would be so rad, but I can't. I don't have that kind of money. So what we're going to do instead of going to real space is we're going to create space on your pieces of paper. And there's such great clues and tricks as an artist that you can use to make the viewer who's looking at your art believe the space you create on your paper. Right now, this is all one piece of paper and nothing's in front of each other. Nothing's behind each other. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna make things happen, okay? So for instance, when we make two objects, you can make things look like they're in front of each other or behind each other. You also can make things look like they're going back into space. When things are closer, watch my head, I get really big, but then when I'm far away, I get really small. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create space. We're gonna have a horizon line. We're gonna create a road that's disappearing. You can create objects. For instance, I can create some mountains, and then I can create mountains behind it. So now I'm gonna create a mountain over here, and I know that this mountain is in front of that mountain because this line doesn't keep going here, okay? Or I can create a bush, and then I can create a tree that's partially overlapped by that bush. And now I know that this is in front of that, okay? So overlapping can be one tool to use. Making things get smaller can be one thing to use. Also color. If you color super, super bright up close, and then super, super dark as you go back into space, it makes it look like it's disappearing, and it makes it look like that grass is now starting to fade because it's so far we can barely see it, okay? So there's so many great tips and tools that we're gonna do along in this next lesson. We explore space on our pieces of paper. All right, so go ahead and take a ruler or any type of straight edge folder, paper, book, and draw an X across your page. You can make your X touch the corners if you want. I did mine so they didn't, but you can do it either way. Once you create an X, you're going to create lines from the center of that X that go horizontal across the bottom two lines. And that is going to make your distance, and you're making it look like almost like a railroad track to begin with. So those lines should stretch out a little bit farther each way you go. Then you're going to connect them on the sides as well. So you're going to draw vertical lines going up and down, up and down. And again, they get more distant as they get closer. And then you're going to make arches over each one to create the roof. Then you're going to measure out the bottom evenly. You could do every 1 inch, every 2 inches, whatever you feel like, but you want those spaces to be pretty even. Then you're gonna make a line from the center, your vanishing point, to each one of those marks you just created. And that is going to create your checker floor. You can leave it how it is, or eventually you can color it in later on. Then I make another line across the bottom to create like molding. I create my horizon line, and I also create molding across the top by stretching that ruler across. Everything is going to that vanishing point, so make sure whatever you create is going to that. My next step is to go ahead and decorate around here. So if you're just doing an aquarium or something, you can start drawing your fish and whatnot. I'm going to make a creepy, spooky hallway. So I'm going to right now make a bunch of tops of picture frames. Then I'm going to stretch the sides down, and then I'm going to make sure the bottoms are all connecting to that vanishing point as well. Once I create my picture frames, then I can create some creepy looking pictures inside of them. So you could do spiders or zombies or skeletons, ghosts, whatever you want. So again, I'm just creating the same length on the bottom that I do as the top, and then I connect the sides. All of those lines should be completely vertical, and now they're ready to be pictures put inside. In the top of my spooky hallway, I'm going to create some type of like night scene, I think. But first I'm going to decorate these windows. So I'm just adding different types of characters, a skeleton, and again, because it's going into space and I want to create that distant space, my objects that are closer should look larger and way more detailed. So as you go farther down in the hallway, your pictures can get kind of blurry or maybe even just be a scribble down there, and less detail. And when you color it, you can even color it lighter as it goes back into space as well, and that creates that distance in that vanishing point. You can create some boarded up pictures. So just take your pen and kind of make it look like wooden strips boarded right over those pictures, or maybe it's a hole in the wall. You can add some shading with your pencil or pen, whatever you're drawing with, dark to light. I'm doing a spider here, really big, creepy spider. And then I'm going to add some wiggly ovals with some wiggly triangles around those, and that to me is creating the texture of like someone ripped the wallpaper off there. Now I'm going to create some ghosts. Now my ghosts are going to be really big up close, and as I go back into space, notice as they get smaller. What's nice about these arches is they kind of create that space for you. They get smaller in size, so if you create things smaller, it's going to give it that distance. You can even do some bats, a circle with arches and some like letter M's. That's how I make the wings of those bats. And so I'm going to do a couple more bats here, I think. And again, you can be drawing with pencil, pen, marker, whatever you have around the house. Just decorating it. Everything up close is big and detailed. Everything farther away gets smaller. And so I'm going to color some of this stuff in before I get my color pencils out. And if you decide you have some other supplies at home, you're welcome to color using crayons, color pencils, markers. It'll definitely enhance your pictures. And you don't have to do a spooky scene. You're welcome to create an aquarium, or you can have trees arching over, or maybe it's a cool glass rooftop that can see all the landscape around. You can get really creative with this one-point perspective hallway. Now I'm coloring in every other one to give it that checkerboard effect, and just every other one as you go, color it in. Super simple. And you can even do a mix of media too. That's what I'm doing here. I'm using a Sharpie, but then in a little bit, once I'm done with this floor, I'm gonna come in with my color pencils and do some shading. And maybe even adding some shadows or creepy details as I try to finish this up. So here is my finished. I used some color pencils. I drew some designs on the wall. And now you've created something that looks like it's getting farther away as you walk down the hallway. Creepy. And again, you can try different types of drawings. So you can choose to draw something that's arching over, like those trees or the ocean. I even used some paints in this ocean scene, like I was walking down a hallway of an aquarium. Good luck.